Hey, what's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to episode 2 with Bills with BK. Now, I want to start off by saying, obviously, last week did not go as smooth as I thought it would against the New York Giants. I thought we were going to beat them by at least 2 touchdowns. We did not. It was a struggle the whole game. First half, we couldn't even get a touchdown or any points on the board. Obviously, Bass missing two field goals was very rare for him. So we would have gone into the half with some points if we didn't miss those field goals, but he's been perfect all season. Obviously, I underestimated the Giants defensively, and they are a lot better on defense than I thought they were. Or they may have just been tired of losing and trying to step it up on prime time. Obviously, Brian Daboll, being the old Bills offensive coordinator, he knows how to play against us. He drew up a pretty good scheme defensively. And again, being a primetime game, I think that they really just wanted that win so badly, coming off all these losses. But that's obviously, it's not an excuse either way. I mean, this is a 1-4 team. We got to be better than that. This is a very bottom of the barrel team. Sure, we snuck out of there with a win, and a win is a win, but we can't struggle like this against teams like that. Or, down the road when we play some harder opponents like the Chiefs, the Eagles, I mean, they'll just smash us straight up. We're not going to have these close games when we're playing like that with these real teams. The start of the game just felt like that Jaguars game where we were just very flat on offense, just having 3-and-outs. Nothing could get going offensively. We weren't gelling. On a positive note, like I said last week, our defense is still looking very strong. I mean, even with all these injuries, having all the edge rushers out there healthy together for the first time, I mean, that was pretty dominant as I expected it to be. You had Russo play great, had a couple of tackle for losses. Leonard Floyd had a sack. Epinesa had a sack. Terrell Bernard played great. He had like 9 solo tackles, 3 tackle for losses. Christian Benford back out there was great. He had like 8 solo tackles, broke up a couple of passes too. I think he played pretty well. I'm still hoping that Kaiir Elam can kind of step it up a bit because I'm starting to see the offenses are kind of starting to zone in on him. I think they're starting to recognize that he's our weakness in the secondary, and they're starting to exploit that a little bit. So I'm hoping that, more and more he just kind of steps it up and then he stops being such a target for offenses. Dorian Williams played well, was stopping plays before they could even develop. Taron Johnson played great. We had 3 sacks overall that night.
Taron Johnson.
He had good coverage on Darren Waller. I know there's a big controversy whether it was pass interference, but personally I think in real time it looked fine. You slow any play down like that, it really makes an obvious pass interference, but in live time, it looked clean to me, and I think we can all agree with that. But he stepped up, made the play. Another positive, we did not let the Giants score the entire game, so that is good. Would have liked to see more out of Von Miller, but we may just have to be a little more patient with him getting back to full form. It's only his second game back. He was on a snap count the week before. I was especially surprised he couldn't get in there for a sack with the Giants being out of their 3 offensive linemen. I know they had like 3 backup linemen in the mix, and it seemed like there would have been some weakness for a seasoned vet like Von Miller to exploit, but those opportunities just didn't seem to pan out for him. He did get some pressure on the quarterback here and there, but literally one of these guys who was stepping into a starting role introduced himself as coming straight off the couch.
Justin Pugh, straight off the couch.
I thought that Von Miller would have been able to kind of take advantage of, some of these backup linemen more than he did. But again, I think that each week he's going to get back in the rhythm of things and he'll get better. The guy was injured all year, so let's give him a break. It might take a little bit for him to get back to form. Ed Oliver also had a quiet game, which I'm not super concerned with because the guy's been playing lights out football, so it's not a big deal if one game he's, making a bunch of plays. Also, I know I've said a lot of negative things about this game, but I got to give it to our boys. They found a way to win. On a Sunday where a lot of weird things were happening in the NFL, I mean, you had the 49ers losing to the Browns, who didn't even have Deshaun Watson. You had the Eagles losing to the Jets. I mean, who would have thought that the backup quarterback would have beat the 49ers for the Browns, I know that I couldn't have been the only one who lost their parlay on that one. And then you got Zach Wilson beating the Eagles. Come on, who saw that happening? So with these elite teams losing and not playing their best, we didn't play our best, and we came out with a win, and that does count for something. Look, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. I still don't think it's time to hit the panic button. If we lose the Patriots this week, okay, fine. It's officially time to panic after that. But, we did still get the win last week. This Patriots game this week, in my eyes, is a must-win because the Patriots have been terrible this year, so there's no reason why we shouldn't beat these guys. I think one of our biggest problems on offense is our play call. It's just so boring. I mean, there is no flair. There's no tricky, deceiving plays. It's just a very cut and dry, basic offense that seems so predictable. And with talent like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, maybe you don't need to have a super complicated offense, and maybe you can just let these guys go out there and do their thing and make plays with their athleticism. Sure, that's a factor. But I just think that to get others more involved with maybe some other type of play calling would be nice. Some flea flickers, some end arounds, some screens. I don't see a lot of that. I'm not sure if Ken Dorsey is really using the dual threat tight end package that we got. I know we all came into the season super excited about Kincaid and Knox being able to both be out there, guys who can both catch passes. Having those two tight end sets was supposed to be a lot bigger threat on teams. Obviously, last week we didn't have Kincaid. He was out because he's in the concussion protocol still. But even before that game, we hadn't really been utilizing both tight ends the way we should be. But just to see teams like the Chiefs who are just so regularly using their tight ends, and we're just not doing it. So that might be something that Ken Dorsey kind of has to figure out on his end. I haven't given up on him completely, but I am saying that year 2 with Ken Dorsey as our offensive coordinator, it's time for him to start being a little more creative with the play call. I'm not going to lie. But also, this is the time to be having these issues early in the season. I would hate for us to be at like week 14, week 15, and we're having these kind of losses, trying to find our way when, it's about to be playoffs, especially since now we have these next 5 games of playing teams that aren't so great, and we should still be able to beat them even if we are finding our way along the way of playing them. Because once we play teams like the Chiefs or the Eagles, I mean, we got to have our shit together, and we got to fucking bring it to these guys because these teams, they're just going to beat us if we play like this. So it's good that this is happening early on while we have a little bit of an easier stretch of our schedule. I just hope by week 12 we play the Eagles, we're fucking ready to go, Another positive is the whole NFL is beatable right now. No team is completely elite. The league is kind of wide open right now. You got teams like the 49ers and the Eagles showing some cracks in the armor. The league is open right now for the taking, and nobody is completely elite. Nobody is unbeatable. We're not the only teams having trouble here and there. I also think that in general, Josh Allen obviously didn't have the best game. I think that he was kind of having hesitation at moments. And I see this with Josh Allen sometimes when he plays defenses who give him a little bit more trouble than he expected. He kind of goes into this like unsure of himself mode where he's like hesitating on making passes, and especially after he throws an interception, I think that in his mind he's just trying so hard to not have any more turnovers that he's doubting himself, and he's not just like making these throws that he normally makes no problem. Like the way he played against the Dolphins. I mean, he was just making completion after completion after completion, and this guy was just unstoppable. So once he gets in this rhythm where he's just making those passes and he's not thinking about it, he plays great. But when things don't go his way and he starts getting some turnovers, then I feel like he gets a little uneasy and he starts to doubt himself, and then that's when, we get these bad plays out of him, or we're not seeing the Josh Allen that we know and love. And we all know he's always got it in him. I also want to point out that when that brawl broke out with the linemen, I mean, Josh Allen came in there and he's put his fucking shoulder into somebody, all right? Now that says something about our quarterback, because most quarterbacks, when shit goes down with the linemen, they start fighting and stuff, quarterbacks usually run away, They're not trying to get involved when the big boys go at it. What did Josh Allen do? What's up? You want to fight someone? Fight me. And I thought that was really cool because it shows our quarterback's got balls, all right? And he's not scared of anybody. He's not going to let anybody push his team around. He's got that love and passion for everybody, and it shows. I think he's going to bounce back this week. I know I said it last week, but I'm going to say it again. This is the get right spot. Going to play the Patriots, and I think we're going to have a good game. But that's all I got for you guys this week. So I'll see you next week. Go Bills.